Hello, really good you're here.
Hello, hello. Thank you very much.
You in this work. Can you talk about what you think, how festivals contribute to the development of integrated dance?
So this is how I've been looking at this whole situation or conversation. That dance in general, it's a language. And language, for people to have a conversation, we need a conversational space, a space that allows for the conversation to. I feel like in this case, festivals and creators, or there could be a very beautiful platform to create this a moment of conversing, having a conversation, and allowing all these different languages to come into this space and have this conversation, and also play a role in introducing these languages to other parts of the community. So we can't have the conversation alone, because then the meaning of the conversation is to have something must be said, transferred, and someone must understand. And if it's just alone in our corner, then we are not having a very successful conversation, because it remains between the two of us. It never affects the next person. So festivals for me are that space that really allows the conversation to go beyond these two people or these five people in their room, but more becoming a more open kind of conversation, allowing outsiders to also engage with the work and have an opportunity to communicate, say something back, and influence the conversation moving forward. So that's what
It's lovely.
Yeah.
So
I think the most important thing is how we engage, how people engage within this work, because sometimes there's a lot of stigma that comes along with when you're working with people living with disability or a deaf person or a blind person. So the fact that there's all these different festivals happening, all these new connections, we're building new audiences, we're building a new awareness, but it's not new. It's just an awareness, because sometimes we forget that we are a whole people, and there's a diverse people living in every community, and we forget about those people living with disabilities or a deaf person, or they always being placed in the background, or they are always brought in the last minute. But being in connected like this and actually having peers and fellow artists doing exactly the same thing, and you actually can talk about your work, you can talk about the research, you can talk about things that are actually similar, and then you don't really feel so alone, because this kind of work can really either include you or exclude you in everything that you do. So the festivals and the workshops and just talking amongst each other and actually have that fellowship to be able to speak about what you are doing, what your practice is, how does it embed into your people and your community. And then when you listen to somebody else, and then there's a similarity, but then there's also these little gems of things that you don't know. So because everything is not the same.
yeah, yeah.
I think it's been amazing to see more and more festivals focusing on access and inclusion. It took a long time for us to get here, and it's so exciting to see how much it's grown and developed, and how much more work is being put on stage and in festivals with disabled artists and artists working together differently. And I think I mean, in South Africa alone, integrated work, it's so scarce. And it's also quite scary for a lot of people who might not be used to integrated work or new to integrated work. And so platforms like these are so important and exciting, because people get to play together, like in the workshops. We get to learn from each other's ways of working, and yeah, just connect with other people who are also working differently. And going back home, we live with something, so it's not just you coming and putting on your work, performing, but it's also coming and sharing with each other, and that exchange, yeah, and building more connections, which is, it's powerful and it's beautiful to see. Yeah, I'm trying to sign and speak at the same time, but it's difficult. Yeah. Yeah. He's saying the same. Yeah. to build now in South Africa, and with more funding, spread it out into the rest of the continent. Yeah. And develop what we have. Yeah. It's not ours. It's for South Africa. It's for Africa. Yeah. How can we develop it? How do we grow it? Yeah. Building more connections. Yeah. Why? Eh, To build on having more accessibility. Yeah. Yeah. Our government need to see the work. They need to see what we're doing and support. And we need to fight for that as well. I wish in the future that they can see what we're doing. Yeah. Yeah.
So power and strength to you, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'm learning.
To me, when I joined Flat Foods, I was like to Leon, I told Leon, one day I would like to work with people uh, in disability. So she was like, why? I was like, because there's this friend of mine that's always been hidden. She's not exposed to anything, and then not able to do anything. They didn't even take her to school. So they didn't know how far or how much she has, or how can she be. She passed away, unfortunately. But maybe if they gave her a chance, maybe today she could be still alive. So that was so heartbreaking for me. And then this festival, they just opening doors to anybody with any ability, any normal or abnormal. I'm not sure if that's the word. Um, but to just be yourself, do your 100. So because everyone have to be heard at the end of the day, but we keep like being cocooning our people, hiding them. So it's like we saying our children they are they are our blessings. But at the end of the day, I think um we like regretting those blessings, or we're not giving them the chance to be seen, to be like to live.
For me, I think it's about development, because we are forever developing. Because in the beginning, before I started Flat Foods, I was not exposed at all to people who have disabilities, or actually, even before then, you would think of people who have disabilities as not normal. And then I joined Flat Foods, then we started doing integrated work and stuff. And then you start to question what is normal. Because we say, you normal, I'm not, you not normal. So we label things and stuff. So going to these festivals, especially this one, uh, you meet so many people, different abilities, different disabilities, different whatever label you wanna label it. And you are forever learning, you are forever nurturing yourself and others. It's very informative. Like we work firstly, like we were working with dancers with Down syndrome, and we've been working for them with years, and fortunately with that group, so we've had like a lot of time with them. So things are very easy and flowy now, because we are so used to each other as a company. And but you go out, you see other people with Down syndrome, so it's not the same spectrum, so it's always different. So like you are forever learning, like literally you are forever nurturing yourself, you are forever eating. So it's more like, as we eat normally, like we need to eat in order to nurture your body. So these festivals are that kind of food for dancers, especially who are interested in this kind of particular work, and also to spread the word out for other people. And
we've been doing inclusive dance for the past 9 years, and one of my reasons why I got into it, because there was a lack of space for people with disabilities to be recognized in mainstream, not just mainstream theater or mainstream dance spaces, but just mainstream. So that's what came to me with the idea of, how do I use my art form and use my career to be a voice for people living with disabilities. And then that's when I started training inclusive dance. I had the privilege of training overseas in Switzerland. And then that's when I came back to South Africa and I shared my work with people living with disabilities. It was definitely, when we started out in the beginning, a lot of people frowned upon it because they were like, what is he doing? Or what is he trying to do? People were, I think, unfamiliar with it. But we've really grown in the past 9 years and shown that disability is not an inability. It doesn't mean because a person is in a wheelchair or they don't necessarily have their sight or part of their mobility. Dance is about inclusivity. So if you can share dance in any way that can adapt to how you feel movement is, it can definitely work. And I mean, like I said, it's taken us a long time to get where we are, but in the beginning, when we started out, people were a bit, I think they were unaware and they were not educated enough. But as we've grown over the years, we've actually got like a really good following now. The company, the inclusivity company, has started to grow. When we first started out, we only had 3 dancers. Now today we have 20 wheelchair-bound dancers. We've got 16 visually impaired that we work with and 4 on crutches. So it's really expanded beyond the vision that I first had. But it's really broken a lot of stereotypes, and that people living with disabilities are not necessarily disabled, but they are differently abled. And that's the message that we wanted to create across and that we are getting across. So